And are you probably still out of the box? You might want to call Jen and see if there's any news.
Okay.
I know what this means.
All right, call this meeting to order. This is the regular town board meeting of Town of Beach Drive. Roll call, Clarkowski here.
Wales here.
Reyes here. Church, aye.
We're here. Starting time 6:37, pledge of allegiance, please. The pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Are all of our postings in order for tonight's meeting?
Yes, we are.
And this would be a good time to announce this. Clerk Treasurer Kenny Cannon's been here 19 years, and time flies, but congratulations for a job well done. Thank you. And to approve the agenda, there was some request possibly move the public comments up, the first public comments up to before the report of committees. Is there anybody here going to be speaking during public comments about ATV or compost brush burning? Anybody wanted to speak on that? Brush burning, ATVs?
Compost bush burning.
Brush burning, okay. To please the board here, I'd like to move public comments number 8 up to call it number 7. So let's switch 7 and 8.
I'll second that.
All right, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Any other deletions on the agenda? Or anything else on the agenda?
Nope.
Okay, we need a motion to approve the agenda with the one change.
I move we approve the meeting agenda for June 12, 2023 at 6:30 with the change noted by Chairman Clarkowski regarding public comments number 1.
Okay, we're switching 7.
I'll second.
We have a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed? None, motion carries. Okay, we have minutes to approve. First one in the packet, the Plan Commission, May 3rd and May 17th.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the planning commission minutes for the May 3rd and May 17th meeting as written. And I also would like to draw your attention to the conditional use request number 3 on the May 3rd meeting. It correctly identifies that the property in question is an A4 property. Later in this meeting, under a second motion, that it's incorrectly listed as an A2 property.
All right, so do we have a motion then to approve those?
I think we did.
That was a motion?
Yes.
Okay, we have a second.
Second.
We have a second. Discussion?
Yes, on the May 17th, under item number 1, it just says motion made by Commissioner Walker. Should we need to specify to approve or deny?
It says motion by Commissioner Walker, seconded by Commissioner Dinah.
Right, but
But
what is the motion? Is the motion to approve or is the motion to deny?
And that's number
To approve.
Number 1.
number 1.
So I would just edit the minutes to read.
Motion by Commissioner Walker to approve.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
That's all.
All right, then, hearing no other comments, all in favor of approving the Plan Commission meeting minutes for May 3rd, May 17th, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? None, motion carries. All right, we have board review. It was a quick meeting to adjourn, basically, to a later date, May 8th. Motion on that.
I move we approve the meeting minutes for the Town of East Troy's Board of Review, May 8th, 2023.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carried. Regular board meeting, May 8th. How many pages? 7 pages?
It would have been 8, but you notice I like took out some spaces there on the last page.
All right, let's see if I had any marks on these.
Under the communications committee report, the first sentence just says the committee still has work in progress or an interest in the YouTube testing. I think,
It's not in just the interest in the YouTube testing, or an interest in the YouTube testing, storage options for video, audio retention, and streaming of meetings, and the about statement. So it's how you read it. Maybe there is a punctuation part, might be able to address that, but the committee still has work in progress or an interest in YouTube testing, storage options, video retention. Does that make sense?
there were 7 items that I think I read, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I guess I would have just said the committee has still work in progress, including the list of the
I
7.
think your 7 items are listed.
Right, in tonight's agenda.
Excuse me?
All right, any other comments? May 8th?
I just had, there was a recollection, there was a phone call that was made in here, and I believe when Sherry, I don't want to butcher her last name, really, she had made a public comment, and then there was at least a deputy. In here, we have seconded everything that Sherry had stated. I believe all of that was true, but it was a phone call, but I thought she had stated about the part with the board with some divisiveness on the board that I remember her saying that was okay. It's good for people to have different opinions on things. It makes an improvement thing. I just wanted to make sure it's not seconded everything that Sherry had stated.
Okay, I can add that. I'll re-listen and I'll hold the audio and video.
Mr. Mills, did you have any comments on the May 8th meeting minutes?
Well, I wrote to the board regarding an allegation that came about that there was an allegation of public misconduct in office in violation of criminal statutes that occurred when the town board voted to discontinue the communications committee. And there may be further public misconduct in office for anyone who votes to approve the minutes for this evening, which I don't believe is a legally sound allegation, for the reason being the code that's being cited. And I'll say, I gave the opinion of the board before I received an email from Leah Bitar and from an anonymous person, Jimmy Comfort, regarding the issue of the communications committee and that vote. But section 2.40010, in my legal opinion, deals with the creation of a committee and rescission of an appointed member. It does not say anything about discontinuing a town committee, and I don't believe you can conflate the two or combine the two. They're two different issues, and to suggest otherwise would lead to an untenable result that a minority vote of the town board carries the day, for one, and two, suggests that a volunteer committee would have the ability to tell the board that created it if and when it's ready to be done. That doesn't happen. So although I received those emails after I sent my email to the board, it does not change my legal opinion. The minutes for the last board meeting are the official record of what happened. It's not a ratification of those actions. The termination of the committee doesn't become effective tonight when the minutes are approved. That happened already. So the official record has to be voted on, and a yes vote on the minutes as amended, or how there were some amendments already, does not mean that you are, in my legal opinion, committing misconduct in public office that would subject you to criminal penalties. And that was my reading to the board.
So you're saying that by the town chairperson, so I think the language, the ordinance reads that the town chairperson may also recommend that any appointment be rescinded at any time,
Right.
provided that the town board unanimously approves the rescission of any appointed member, which I think was.
It's removal of a committee member from a committee. It doesn't speak to a unanimous vote being required for the town board to discontinue a committee.
And furthermore, annual appointment is just that. It's an annual appointment. That's my responsibility to do annually. We do it in May. And it has to be ratified by the board, and there was a vote to that.
If I may add, something that was stated in one of the emails did kind of resonate with me. It was suggested that allowing the termination of the committee to stand would set a extremely dangerous precedent, as 3 board members could simply choose to terminate a committee and quickly reinstate it to oust the current members or representatives of that committee and install members or representatives who fit and will fulfill their own private agendas. If that were to happen, then yes, I do believe there could be a look back as to what happened and have it be deemed to be improper. But I don't know if that's going to happen or not.
That'd be the middle of the year, basically. And that's.
I mean, that could happen, but I would advise the board at that time that no, you can't do that.
But you're saying that terminating the committee is not the equivalent of rescinding all 5 appointments?
No, not if the committee's voted to no longer be necessary for whatever reason the town board voted the way it did.
Okay, any other questions? All right, for me, to approve the minutes.
I had one other comment, and Celia's here, maybe she can correct me if I'm wrong, if you would allow it, but I think in the second public comments, we noted that Leah questioned the interviewing process for the committee members and the equity among people interested in volunteering, and why some were interviewed and others were not. And I think she also noted that it was reported that all members were interviewed previously. Is that the appointment that was part of your public comments?
Yeah, that we were not all.
Yeah, she was not interviewed, that's what I read.
Correct, and I'll restate exactly what I said last time. It's all of the appointments, that's my responsibility. Communications committee was rolled out 2 years ago at the annual meeting. I did it. And at that time, the board said, put out a flyer. In fact, Michelle put out the flyer on our website asking for volunteers. And the board made the decision that whoever volunteered, and it was gonna be on that committee. And John, you remember that very well, because I thought there was too many issues going on with you. And the board said, no, he was a volunteer, so he's on there.
That was the ad hoc.
That was the ad hoc,
That's
right,
separate from the notice I put out.
Right. And then when you came to the standing committee, you were named chair, and you put out a notice of interest. All those people that came from that line, so to speak, that was a decision by the board saying, if you volunteered, you're on the committee. Okay, that's what's different than any of the other committees. The other committees, they still end up in the same spot. There's a resolution that's read, and the board has to vote on that. So at that time, that's when the objections will come up. So it's correct. I interview everybody, and I know most of the people already for a long time that our committee members. Plan commission has its own little deal because they go on a 3-year cycle. Communication committee was handled totally separate, and that was if you volunteered, you were on. So it's not a lie to say I interviewed everybody when I didn't. That's exactly what happened. I interviewed everybody on the communications committee. That was done totally separate by direction of the board saying, if you volunteer, you're on it. That's the difference. So
And
I
then
will
it
say,
changed when we
In that
replaced.
first wave.
yeah, well, we did have the Joneses in the middle of the year, and that one was not a flyer out there. So I did interview them. We did amend the resolution. I had a new resolution because we lost 3 and we added 2. And then when we did that, I did interview them. So it's not that I was slating anybody previously, because there was 10 people on the original ad hoc. And I think you started with 5, and then it got reduced, and then it came back to 5 again. So that answered, I hope that answered the question.
Michelle, do you want the minutes modified to reflect that in the second public comment section that Ms. Vitar stated she was not interviewed?
I believe that was her point, yes, that's what I understood. Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Well, you were on the committee.
And the only other thing was in the first public comments, your nice quote from John Stoss, he's wondering what the heck, just a K on the heck.
Thank you.
Oh.
I decided to amend the vocabulary.
Anyone else? Me? All right, hearing none, motion to approve the minutes for May 8th. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? None, motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, may I make a request? I see Communication Committee is on tonight's agenda, even though the committee itself was terminated last month. But I do have a request for closure purposes. I noticed that minutes are missing for 7 out of 10 publicly noticed meetings, and I'm asking Supervisor Reyes at her earliest convenience, those approved minutes could be given to the town clerk for posting on the city website as a continued effort for transparency.
Is the number correct? Do you agree with the number, Michelle? It's on the.
I will take a look at, that's some, but then there were some changes to some.
Yeah, we never got after the meetings.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, is that it for minutes? Move it in, is that correct, Kim?
Treasury report for May 2023.
Wait a minute, was there a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
Yes.
Okay.
Right. All right, yes, Kim.
Okay. Treasury report for May 2023. Total receipts for May were $34,431.19. Transfers for May were $177,000. Interest earned was $248.22. Balance as of April 30th was $10,331.63. Total funds were $222,011.04. Checks paid in May were $208,180.25, leaving a balance in the general checking of $13,830.79.
Questions? Okay, motion, Commissioner?
Okay, so the loan quotes are separate, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, do I hear a motion to?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Second.
Barb, second, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. Loan quotes.
Okay, so the first item for loan quotes is for the Sherwood Drive repaving project. First of all, for both loans, I got 3 quotes. One from the Board of Commissioners of Public Lands, one for Citizens Bank from Quantico, and one from First Citizens State Bank. Okay. And the quotes were both the same for both loans. Okay. Citizens Bank, or the Board of Commissioner of Public Lands was 5.25%. Citizens Bank of Quantico was the same at 5.25%. First Citizens State Bank was 5.2%. So they were the lowest, okay? For the Sherwood Drive paving project,
I thought that was the first 3 you mentioned, was that for Sherwood?
there's the same for both,
Okay.
okay? The total loan for Sherwood Drive will be $123,600. The paving project itself came in at $122,151. Town expenses, including a publication printing fee, DPW Superintendent Shields' time, and my own time, add an additional $1,441.23 to the loan.
Sure.
My recommendation, of course, is to take the lowest, with First Citizens State Bank being 5.2%.
Take the lowest. All right, we need a motion then, that'd be for both loans. What was the amount for the town capital project?
Okay. That one is separate. What we budgeted for our loans for 2023 expenses were $1,181,212. However, because of the purchase of the plow truck, we will need to do a budget amendment, which we will have to authorize Attorney Mills to do in July, to add the down payment for the chassis on that snowplow truck of $88,688. So the loan for the town will come up to $1,269,900. That loan will be a 15-year loan, and it'll keep the payments relatively low. Because we did pay off one of our bigger loans this year. So there'll be a little jump, but then we'll pay off 2 loans in 2024.
All right, so the recommendations for the treasurer is First Citizens
Correct,
Bank at 5.2% for both loans.
right.
Do we have a motion?
I make a motion that the town, take out a loan with First Citizens Bank at 5.25%.
520.
Oh, 520%, my mistake. For the amounts of $123,600, $122,151.
That's already included.
Pardon me,
Are you,
$1,269,900.
269,900.
1 million?
No, I
1
haven't
million.
gotten to that one yet.
$1,269,900.
Were you breaking down?
Yes, I was breaking down,
Two separate motions.
I was making it for the Shorewood Drive repaving project in the amount of $123,600 and $122,100.
No.
The 123 is total.
120.
600 is the 121 plus the.
Okay, the 123.6 includes the 1441.
Right, correct.
All right, so we have a motion for the Sherwood paving project.
Paving project for, in the amount, from First Citizens at 5.20%. I'm sorry, that's really annoying. Thank you. In the amount of 123,600. Correct.
That is a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Bill, second, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? None, motion carries. Okay, second.
I make a motion, we approve the town capital projects loan with First Citizens State Bank at 5.20% for $1,269,900 at 15 years.
Second.
All right, discussion.
Nice job.
Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? None, motion carries.
You also, one more thing, you need to authorize Attorney Mills to draft the resolution for the park. It's all part of the.
All right, we have a motion to authorize Attorney Mills to draft
Second.
with the amendment. We have a second discussion. Hearing none, all in
Well,
favor.
wait a minute, Joe, did you make that motion?
No, I thought Michelle moved.
Oh, okay.
When Kim said that, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Michelle. Right. Okay, on the motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? None, motion carries.
I have a question. Do we need to authorize Jim to make the budget amendment for July?
We'll do that in July.
Okay.
Okay, is that it for you, Kim? All right, as I said, we moved up the public comments period, now with number 8 to number 7, and this would be for people that want to discuss anything that occurs in under 7, which is ATV signing, there's compost site with the brush burning issue. And I believe the rest of it is just reports, including the plan commission. So if you have comments on the snow plowing, I would think we'd want to do that just before we start that discussion, so.
Joe,
You can't.
you can't limit it to that.
Public comments is public comments.
Comments.
Because we're gonna still do it 2 times, not.
We're still gonna, we're gonna do the second one, it's gonna be after everything is done.
Right.
So, you're right, because we're moving that up, that does leave everything on our agenda now open, because the second public comments period is after everything is done except the operating licenses. So, yeah, okay, just public comments for anything on the agenda here, so. And that is up. Race. And I've been told, just to let you know here, that I shuffle papers too much up here. And microphone picks it up, so I'll try to be cognizant of the fact that the papers will get picked up. But public comments, I listen attentively, I take notes, and I thank the person. It's not what been recorded. So, let me reset 2 to 3 minutes. And you're good.
All right. I just wanted to comment with respect on 9D, which is review and approve snow plowing contract and draft. I was wondering if the board had any questions for members of Shorewood Drive, the homeowners on that item. Okay, any questions on that?
Yeah.
Attorney Mills, I've been, go ahead.
What do you think the odds are of you being able to get 100% of your road to sign that contract in order to meet a deadline?
I think I could get the vast majority to do that. Like I stated at the other meeting, you're a 5-person board. The 5 of you can't agree on one thing. So how would I get over 50 people signature on one letter?
Point well taken, thank you.
That's gonna be tough. You attended the meetings when we were doing the road, when we were in negotiation with the town. We had an open air meeting out at the end of our peninsula. A lot of the members were down there. I think I had responses from over 40 people out of 50, I think there's 52 or 53 homes on our road. A couple meetings ago, Attorney Mills drafted a letter that he wanted everyone to sign, get 100% participation. I understand what he was doing. He was suggesting that you guys don't do it to limit the liability for the town. But actually what you're doing is you're shifting the liability. You're not limiting the liability of the town, because that road still needs to be accessed by the sanitary district for the pumping station, the police department, the fire and rescue, and the volunteers that need to respond to any calls. If the road's not plowed and something happens to any one of those vehicles on a road, you still assume that liability. If you guys don't continue to plow, I'm not asking for anything that hasn't been done in the past. I'm just saying, let's just do business moving forward as we have done in the past. As far as an agreement, I feel that there's already an agreement in place. We agreed to have the road repaved. It's being assessed on our taxes and absorbed by every one of the homes on our road. That is an agreement. I don't think anyone's contested, the charges for the snow plowing on our road. And we just wish to move forward with business as usual. If there's people here that are here to support the plowing as usual, could you please stand? These are the people who put you in your seats. I think there's one person who brought this to the attention of the town, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so there's one person, and I've got, 20, 25 people, and those who couldn't attend tonight, who I could provide emails from as well. I think that needs to be taken into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Yes.
Okay, public comments, anything? Anyone?
I'm David Wolf, I live on Miramar Drive,
What's your address, please?
W945,
Is it WOLF?
correct,
Thank you.
right there. They came up to the compost site and found out there was no brush, they came up this week. They always go through that little gateway because it's open. Found out there was no brush allowed anymore. First of all, I don't know what the definition of brush is. Does anybody have a definition for brush?
Light woody material,
What is that?
light woody material,
That's,
tree limbs, tree branches.
okay, so we're not gonna take any more leaves in the fall?
No, that doesn't.
Leaves.
Well, you just said-
Yard waste is not burned, it's composted. What's
I
being
understand
discussed
that,
here
but
is the.
there is a certain amount of tree limbs that go into that, this tire. There's a certain amount of tree limbs with leaves on it that go into that compost area also. So there's no definition of what brush is. Okay? Second of all, I know there's a camera put up there. I'm not sure how people who bring brush there, once we define it, how that's gonna be enforced.
We'll have a person there.
Okay, so some 80-year-old guy comes up with a whole trailer full of what he thinks is non-brush, comes to the compost site that weekend, and somebody there says, no, you gotta take that all back to your house.
That's what's gonna be discussed and what we're gonna do. The complaint basically came to our attention. We checked it out with the DNR, because we didn't need a compost permit when we got one, because we were grandfathered in. And question, Todd, you called DNR, and DNR says, if you are going to burn on that site, you need to get the permission of anybody within a quarter mile. And that ain't never gonna happen. So we have to discuss, if we're gonna chip.
Not, okay, if you're gonna chip, that's fine. So somebody would come there, you're gonna chip, are you gonna charge for that chipping?
Hasn't been discussed,
Okay,
but we'll discuss that tonight.
all right.
There's costs in the packet.
What's that?
There's costs in the packet. That's what I was gonna talk about.
So my concern is to still have access to get into that compost site and the definition of what compost is.
You're in favor of continuing to have brush dropped off.
Compost and brush, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Next.
I can stay on the brush theme.
Sure.
I noticed the packet in here that it shows on page 21, some costs to man everything, and then we're gonna haul chips away or something, and I'm wondering if people take dirt, composted dirt, why wouldn't they take chips?
That's a good point.
I know I probably would. So I don't know that we need to do that. Secondly, there's no way we can get approval for burning?
DNR said that the compost license that we have is for composting, doesn't talk about chipping or burning. So we need to amend the permit to allow burning, and if you get too much brush, you have to burn otherwise.
No, it would be a total separate permit for burning out there.
So separate.
The initial cost is $500 through the DNR and $160 a year after that to retain the permit. But before you get anywhere with that, you have to have everybody's permission within a quarter mile. It was just, burning it was just a cheaper way than us out there chipping it. I wrote up what it costs every time the compost site's open, what it costs us, or the town.
Yeah, and it's not manned all the time. I know there's.
It would be if,
No,
I know, and that's adding more cost than I'm.
Yep.
Not understanding the reason. Also, the letter that was sent in by David Narwood, Narwhal, I kind of agree. You're gonna have people burning brush in hundreds of residents where you could have it under control here, so so I hope all those things are being really carefully considered, because I know there's a lot of people upset about the idea of no brush going in there, so.
I burned today.
What?
I burned brush today.
Yeah, I know.
All right, thank you. Couple comments? Name and address?
My name is Tyler Barley, W1516 Fairway Road.
How
Good
do you spell
evening.
your last name?
I'm saying again,
How do you spell your last name?
B as in boy, AEURLE. I'm here to represent Fairway Road and its residents. As stated, I have a petition out right now for speed bumps. I'm trying to get speed bumps approved for Fairway Road. Over the past few years, I've noticed the increase of package delivery vehicles to our community. I'm all for ordering things online at the convenience of our fingers, but the speeds that come with those delivery vehicles have also increased. It's not just delivery vehicles, it's residents, visitors, it's everybody. Having speed bumps put in could and would stop a preventable accident from happening. There's a number of small children who live down the street and love playing outside. There's people who walk their dogs, push their strollers, ride their bikes. People who just enjoy being outside. I, for one, do not ever want to have to worry about my family or one of my neighbor's family members getting hit by a car, a truck, a van, or anything like that. And to help that from happening, I believe speed bumps is a great step forward in the right direction. This time of year especially, everybody is outside, everybody's enjoying the nice weather. Everybody likes to order stuff from Amazon, including myself, but nobody regulates the speeds, especially in these residential neighborhoods where it's not a business road. You shouldn't be going more than 25 miles an hour, which is posted, but realistically, if you lock up your brakes at 25, you're not stopping on that. I've talked to a couple of people about posting different speed limit signs to 15. It hasn't really gone anywhere just yet, but speed bumps, I know would be a good step in the right direction for them. I've got kids, neighbors have kids. I don't want something like that to happen. So.
Thank you very much, and thank you for reaching out. Tyler did call me, we talked a couple, 2-3 times.
Yep.
On how to do it, I told him this is kind of what we need. Well, somebody will likely put this on next month's agenda so we can take some action on it. We can't do it tonight.
If it's on the agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Well, where is it?
This is my first meeting, so I'm not sure when it's a good time to say something, so I just figured I'd get.
Oh, yeah, I see it. So we do have the petition here, but we're not authorizing anybody to do anything yet, so next month we're gonna take the next step. Okay. And I love to say there's a difference between this one and East Shore. On East Shore, a couple of years back, we had a request, and it wasn't done as well as this, where you basically had everybody on the road except.
I have everybody but one, and actually I have a bonus one, which I thought was on my road, but he's actually at East Shore, he's right on the corner.
So what's the difference is here is, on that last one, what happened is we had it in no more than a day, and complaints started coming, and then it continued. And basically the complainant said he called out a safety issue. And in town government, actually any municipal government, if somebody calls out a safety issue and the town doesn't react to it and something happens, they're now negligent. Okay, so those bumps were out that day, the third day they were up, I believe, right? Todd, second day?
They were up for 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay. So the complaint basically forced that issue. In this particular case, everybody that's affected on that road has signed this, okay?
I mean, people even asked, can we donate? Is there something that we can do?
That could happen when we take some action on it, that could be a portion of it, or whatever. So, but this is the right way to do it, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
So the speed limit is currently 25.
It is, and there's people even living down the street that go way faster than that. You can only holler at somebody so many times, talk to them. Again, I've got a 3-year-old and another one on the way, and that's the absolute last thing that I would ever want something to happen, especially with everybody who's in the neighborhood just trying to enjoy themselves. With Amazon coming through FedEx, nobody knows how to use a brake pedal, everybody used to use a gas pedal. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tyler. Right, public comments? John?
You need my name?
Don't need your address either, John, thanks, so, I appreciate it.
I'd like to touch base on number 5 here, what was partially talked about earlier. There were a lot of people that were upset with the vote and the way the communications committee was disbanded or abolished, or whatever you want to call it. There were people that felt that the work wasn't done, and when the vote was 3-2 on abolishing it, it seemed like it was, I don't want to say rehearsed, but it gave the appearance that it was already pre-discussed and was talked about prior to the meeting, which I don't think is allowed. I was in correspondence with Chairman Klarkowski 2-3 weeks before that vote, and I provided links to videos, and I talked about things that happened at the annual meeting a couple years ago, and there still are things that haven't been addressed that were voted on and won a majority vote at the annual meeting. And I hope that somebody on the board here or somebody's gonna pick it up and follow through on the things that were voted on, because there were 8 people that stood up here, like I'm standing here right now talking to you guys, and they sat here for 4 hours and 25 minutes listening to the meeting, trying to get their public comments in. And the majority of this board did the exact opposite of what the people stood here and requested of the town board. So in my opinion, that doesn't seem to be representing the electors very well, because if 8 people felt strong enough to waste 4.5 hours of their life waiting here to speak, and then the board did the exact opposite, and we know that there are things that aren't done and complete on that. A lot of the stuff is done completely. We have greatly improved on transparency and forthrightness, which is great, which is awesome. But I still think there's more work to be done, and I hope that the ball doesn't get dropped.
Thank you. I do have to comment on the pre-discussed unless Attorney Miller stops me.
Well, you're not supposed to comment on public comments anyway to keep the meeting moving.
All right, and by the way, well, we'll say that number 6 does address one of the things we're gonna talk about. All right, public comments.
Joe, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say you can't say anything.
I know what you're saying.
But.
Right, otherwise we'd be here 4 hours again.
Ken Jess, School Road. Can I get a little leeway on time? Since I'm gonna discuss.
I'll wait till you're.
I'm gonna discuss both issues.
We have 2 public comments here.
I would need to get them both because you're gonna discuss them both. Okay, I'm responsible for both the snow plowing and the compost site problem. If you wanna hate my guts, go right ahead, I don't care. I want to read the email I sent to these, and in regards to the compost site. It says, "Good morning, I would like to inform the town of East Detroit Town Board of my concerns and findings in regards to the open burn at the town of East Detroit compost site. This in regards to an open and uncontrolled fire that the East Detroit Fire Department was called forth on Sunday, May 7th, 2023. This site is a licensed compost site with the DNR. It does not have a Wisconsin DNR open burning permit as required. This practice violates the town of East Detroit open burning codes in regards to the material being burned was not generated on site and the fire was unattended. Why would we expect compliance with local ordinances if the originators of the ordinances disregard what they create? This site is zoned M4 by Walworth County, landfill. All uses are conditional uses. We have a conditional use for a compost site. Open burning is not listed as a conditional use. Therefore, the town of East Troy is in violation of the conditional use permit. The Wisconsin DNR does not permit open burning in closed or abandoned landfills. That is what that is. The Wisconsin DNR requires obtaining permits in southeast Wisconsin for open burning to control the release of harmful air pollution. This was also not required. Okay, I'm done with that. Now we're going to move on to the snow plowing. The town of East Troy appears to want to provide snow and ice control on private roads. I'd have to hear a good explanation as to why. I cannot wrap my head around why any public entity would want to get involved in private businesses. Whenever I look at any issue, I'm reminded to follow the money. And in this case, the lack of money that has been generated for a service that clearly costs more than we are receiving as revenue. It is time the residents on private roads pay private contracts for snow and ice control. As free market forces will establish the true cost. The town of East Troy has created a monopoly for snow plowing services on private roads. Private enterprises cannot compete. In fact, competition has been shut out completely. There are private contractors in the area that can and will provide snow and ice control on these roads. These are private roads. They should be plowed by private contractors. That is how the real world works. Let private enterprises flourish as they deserve to. We are unfairly competing with private businesses for private work. I have personally spoken with some of the private snow and ice control contractors, and they are very interested in how this issue unfolds. The town of East Troy has historically undercharged the residents receiving snow and ice control on private roads. This perpetual undercharging for services has put some of the financial burden for snow and ice control on private roads onto the balance of the residents in the town of East Troy. A clear violation of the public purpose doctrine, which in essence states that public dollars shall not be used for private purposes. The town of East Troy DPW has assumed snow and ice control on some private roads in the township.
You're done three.
I'm going to continue. If this contract process is approved, are we going to offer snow and ice control for all the private roads in the town of East Troy? If not, we can assume there will be some repercussions from this arbitrary decision. What criteria are we using to determine what private roads more deserving?
You can set them
Done.
all. You just wait to the second session.
Well, the second
Or
section is after.
Be asked to leave.
Okay.
You maintain control of this meeting.
Thank you for your time.
And we have plenty of correspondence with them, so. we know-
But the general public doesn't. They don't know what all has transpired.
All right, any comments? 2 minutes.
Tim Cranky, K-R-E-N-K-E, W980 Sherwood Drive.
Thank you.
I was not going to comment until that last person got up here. I not only pay my taxes, which is the same as everybody else, and they get their roads plowed. I'm on a private road. I pay extra to have my road plowed. So I'm already paying taxes to have that road plowed. Now I'm paying more taxes because I'm a private road. Plus I have to pay for the private road. You don't pay for your road. You don't pay for plowing. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Second? Okay.
I'm sorry.
Steve Kutsch, K-U-T-S-C-H, W844 Shorewood.
Thank you. I apologize.
Just wanted to urge the town to approve the snow plowing, renew that contract. As was previously stated, not plowing that road creates a safety issue for all of your first responders as well as the residents on that road. So it could end up being a very big liability issue.
Thank you. All right, public comments? Public comments, anyone? Again, this is the only public comment period before, we do have one at the end of the meeting. Okay, so we have, so, anyone else? Going once, twice, okay, we're gonna continue. All right. Report of committees, chairman's report. I did a call into the public hearing for the Wisconsin DNR Dresden Pier issue. It was an online deal, wasn't in person. And there was at least a dozen people on that call. I have not heard if they made a decision yet, but this Dresden Pier deal is really a dredging permit, dredging of upland and Lake Bed in Lake Beulah. I also attended the Tri-Troy meeting on May 16th, and we discussed the fire district, the closeout of what went right and wrong with the school referendum, because we did assist with that. And then actually Mr. Stoss asked if I could bring up ATVs in the village, at St. Peter's Road in town, and I did bring that up, and they did say that they have an ordinance that forbids that, and they already acted on that. So your next stop would be with them. But they have an ordinance that says no.
So that 1,400 feet is gonna still be closed?
That would be correct unless you change the rule. And then I did not attend this meeting, I actually took a vacation last week, and Barb Church gladly attended the Route of the Badger state meeting, bicycle group, in regards to the East Troy to McWanago trail, that there's a grant application out there for it. Okay, media IT report with Administrator Olson.
I'm assuming we're not gonna do this verbatim.
We don't even have to read it if they all have it. Don't even have to read it if they all have it.
They do, we don't know.
Yeah, give it all.
Okay. It was recommended to make this report after last month's meeting when I expressed concern that people thought that the ball was going to be dropped. It was already stated today. The ball has not been dropped yet, so everybody can feel good about that. The May 2023 newsletter was received by our residents. We'd like to thank the Communications Committee for their efforts with the spring edition. I look forward to the final invoices coming in to be able to see where our budget is and when we get started on the fall and winter editions. We were able to utilize the website and Facebook to better communicate the road work, road closures, and the timelines related to sealing and stripping projects at the boat launch parking lot. This method of communication appeared to be well received and went well across the several platforms of Facebook and was reshared. Thank you to Todd and his team for their willingness to communicate so well and make it all possible. I'm currently fine tuning the frequently asked questions portion of the website, as well as adding a tab, which actually happened on Friday, for the sanitary districts 2 and 3. So thank you to Jean for that suggestion. It went over well. We developed the best practice of offering residents who came in with questions if they'd like us to subscribe on their behalf to the website. A name and cell phone number is all they would need, and this would provide text message notifications when there's a notice on the website. This would give those who are less tech savvy the ability to just press the link on their phone, not have to go to the website. It would automatically take them there and hopefully bridge some of that gap for those people who aren't on the website regularly. The newsletter is a great way to do it, but with it being quarterly, a lot of things are missed. If there's a tornado warning or a road closure, so to be able to know that in real time. The YouTube testing has continued. There was some fine tuning that we had to do. I did have the opportunity to meet with Will, the IT gentleman from Taylor. He gave us some great suggestions on Friday, which I did get the sound to work, which is an amazing step forward. So we will be doing more testing this week. So that's a very exciting thing. He did also mention that the broadband is an issue. They're going to be looking at that when they change the server. We should have a better flow to the administrative line instead of splitting it equally between the administrative and the guest line. Hopefully that will maybe get us some more resolution. He said that the camera was a good camera and should be getting us where we need to be. It's just really the broadband that's the issue. So fingers crossed that that will be able to be improved with the server. So we'll see how that goes. Move 360 came out to thank our PD for their service. They brought treats and got to tour the courtroom. We're hoping to do a lot more interactive coordination with them in the future where they can come through and give the students some time to see some real life opportunities. Students from Mr. Holly's agriculture class came out and helped to spread mulch and joy in the Jim Barnes Memorial Park. It was a pretty good time. The DPW team, thank you very much for getting all the mulch out there and giving the students the tools they needed for the project. Thank you to Supervisor Reyes for taking the time to talk to Mr. Holly this year, and thank you to Supervisor Church who brought out snacks and water for the guys. That was really great. On Facebook, we had 37 new Facebook followers this month and 491 content interactions. We currently have 478 likes with 710 followers. I was able to go live for the Memorial Day Parade, which is a first, and that was pretty neat. It seemed to be very popular. There were a lot of likes and follows, and we did have a lot of new followers that were associated with the Memorial Day content. I was also able to see today that we have 304 subscribers on the website now. That's not included in the report, but I did find that out today. And was able to fine tune a little bit for those who are subscribed so we can stop those second notifications if they were subscribed twice. So that was the good news today.
Okay.
And then there's a flowchart that's in the packet as well, if anybody wanted to look at it.
Any questions from the board? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for the report. Okay. Department of Public Works, Todd Shield.